All right, we're about to dive into one of the most powerful wealth building engines in the entire world. And it all kicks off with a simple question that might just change the way you think about money. What if? What if an investment that cost about as much as a new phone could have completely rewritten your financial story? Just, let that sink in for a second. One decision, one company. You would be looking at over 200,000 euros today. No, that is not a typo. That is the incredible power of investing in world-changing companies and just being there for the ride. And that story right there is the entire reason we're doing this. Look, this isn't about chasing some lottery ticket. It's about understanding the actual blueprint for how wealth gets created by the most dominant companies on the planet. So, welcome to our brand new series. This is your personal guide to the S&P 500. We're going to break down the most important, most influential companies inside this index one by one. We're going to figure out how these giants have generated absolutely life-altering wealth over time. Okay, before we jump in, you know the drill. We have to do the quick disclaimer. Everything you see here is for educational purposes only, all right? This is not financial advice. You've always got to do your own homework before making any investment decisions. Right, let's get to the good stuff. So to kick things off, we are starting with an absolute monster. One of the most talked about, most explosive companies on Earth right now, Nvidia. So who are they? Well, to put it simply, Nvidia designs these incredibly powerful computer chips, also known as GPUs. And their tech is, well, it's everywhere. It's powering your high-end video games, it's the backbone of massive data centers, and yeah, it's the engine behind the entire artificial intelligence revolution that's happening right now. But just designing cool chips isn't what makes this story so wild. What really sets Nvidia apart from the pack is its just unbelievable explosive growth. I mean, let's just look at the raw numbers here. If you go back to around 2016 and you adjust for all the stock splits, you could have bought a share of Nvidia for less than $1, less than $1. Today, that same share is trading somewhere around $150 to $180. The change is, it's just insane. To put a finer point on it, we're talking about a return of over 20,000%. It's one of those numbers that's so big it almost feels fake, but I promise you it is very, very real. But look, percentages can feel a little abstract, right? So what does a 20,000% gain actually look like, in your pocket? It means that our 1,000 euro investment we talked about, it would have turned into over 200,000 euros. Let that sink in. All from one single company. So here's the most important part. We need to understand how this even happened, because this wasn't some lucky break that happened overnight. No, there's a much deeper lesson here for literally anyone who wants to build wealth. See, Nvidia's growth didn't just appear. It was built in stages over years. First, it was totally fueled by the huge gaming market. Then it got even bigger by powering the world's data centers. And now, it is at the absolute center of the AI revolution. Each phase just built on the last one, getting bigger and bigger. So you have to ask, right? If the signs were all there, gaming, data centers, AI, why did most people completely miss out on this? Well, it usually comes down to a few really common mistakes. People wait for that perfect moment to jump in, a moment that, let's be honest, never really comes. Or they see the growth, but they just doubt it can keep going. Or the classic mistake, they try to time the market, jumping in and out instead of just letting their investment do its thing. And this, right here, is probably the most important thing you'll hear today. You don't need a crystal ball to find the next Nvidia. What you need is to understand how great companies grow, and then, and this is the hard part, have the patience to just stay invested long enough to see it all happen. And that is exactly what this series is all about. We are going to break down more of these giants from the S&P 500 so you can see step by step how real, long-lasting wealth is actually built. So if you're serious about understanding the engines that power our entire economy and you want to learn how you can grow your own money right alongside them, then you are definitely not going to want to miss what we have coming up next. Because the next company we're putting under the microscope, it's a name everyone knows, but the real reasons for its success, they might actually surprise you. Do yourself a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single one of these deep dives. Trust me, we are